Alright, let's do this video.
We don't think that getting attention from black guys gives you a status of some sort. If you get attention from the white guys, you do have the status more than if you get attention from black guys.
As a man, I'm going to have to respectfully disagree. Yeah.
Well, as a woman who gets attention and who grew up in a white culture more than a black culture, I'm going to tell you that getting attention from black guys is not a badge of honor if you're white.
Okay.
And I'm white.
You are white.
Yes.
Hey guys, so I wanted to go over this video that was sent to me, but also that I saw that Cerebral posted on her TikTok as well as her community wall. So shout out to Miss Cerebral. She has really good content and she's always posting some really interesting TikTok videos. So you guys might want to run over there to her channel and check out the content if you haven't already done so. But this is an interesting video because what I've been noticing lately, and I think black women need to pay attention to this, and although we should see this as a benefit, we should tread lightly on the amount of acceptance we give to it. And I'll tell you guys later why. But what I'm noticing more of is women of no color coming out and basically parodying the same sentiments that black women have been parodying. Because what we've been doing as black women is bringing awareness to the issues with black men. And in us bringing awareness to the issues with black men, their misogynistic mindset, the devaluing of women, this has caused other races of women to jump on the bandwagon and do the same thing. And the reason why this is like a double-edged sword, because on one hand you have a group of women who have more ears that are willing to listen to them because they have the complexion for the protection. And these women are literally validating what we've been saying and basically helping to vindicate our name. But on the other hand, women of no color specifically have a habit of co-opting movements that they did not start. And then...
So what you really mean is that you are wanting these people not to benefit from this movement because you don't want them to find functional relationships, you don't want them to level up, you don't want them to get better men because, you know, you do feel like you compete against preferences and so-called basically white women and things of that nature. Continue.
Taking credit for the progress of those movements that black women put work into. And so even though when I point out these videos and how beneficial they are, black women, we have to really tread lightly on the amount of support that we give to non-black women who are essentially co-opting our movement. They're doing it in a lightweight manner, but they're doing it nonetheless. Because at the end of the day, it was us who started coming out and bringing light to the fact that we need to develop standards, boundaries, and expectations. Some women call it leveling up. Some women call it betting, whatever. Black women bettering ourselves and not feeling like we need to be attached to and validated by a man is a movement that we've been starting. And it's just began to get the amount of traction that we needed to get. And now that it's got a lot of traction, now that it is going mainstream, now you have a lot of different groups of women jumping on board. I've been doing content on them. I've seen a lot of other people do content on them. And one thing that I've been speaking to, in addition to the pathology of black...
The only people who do content on this and root for the relationships between white women and black men to fail are black women who are jealous of white women and want the relationships to fail so they can swoop in and get that black man, basically. They want someone's leftovers, their failure leftovers, because they're that desperate. Because they don't want relationships to do well with white women because they want this to be an example of why interracial relationships are bad. That's basically it, you know. And this is why, to me, it's a major reason why I've always been against Cynthia G, because her main focus is to make interracial relationships look bad, and people a while back, before she showed her true cards to a lot of people, would try and say that she was trying to help black women when she wasn't. And she wasn't interested or caring about divested women, and we now know that. But you could tell that by how she wanted so badly to show how much she desires white women and black men's relationships to fail. Because this is the same thing. And everyone who is a sensible person understands this is the same thing as a black woman with a white man. It just is.
Black men. I've also been talking about the pathology of their preferences. And in this video, you're going to hear basically a lot of what I've been saying. You're going to hear about the mindset of these women, why this woman of no color is saying that black men have an interest in women of no color, and what is at the core of that desire, which is trying to find parity with men of no color. So I'm going to show you the video, and we're going to get into all of the pathology. Before I do, I want to give a shout out.
I'm absolutely obsessed with my results from Clear and Brilliant. I've always struggled with hyperpigmentation and
I want to give a shout out and thanks to everyone who contributes to the content on the channel. If you want to contribute, you can do so by emailing me. The email is in the description box and pinned to the comment section. Thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel. When you do subscribe, don't forget to hit the notification bell and subscribe to all notifications so you'll know every time I go live and when I upload new content. Now, before I show this video, I want to say this, black women, because the movement is going mainstream, and this is a very good opportunity for us to put our needs and what's best for us at the forefront. And when I say putting our...
You know what, honestly, in my opinion, when you talk about needs, I think your needs are the same as the preferences or so-called preferences. Let's just say your needs are the same as white women's needs who are with black men. You both are the same. I don't understand why you guys never understand this, but you both are the same. You want black men, you want better black men, you want the same type of man. You have the same interests. You just happen to be a different color. But color does not define character or desire or the type of person you are. Of course, you wouldn't know anything about that because you think that color defines you, sadly. Anyway, continue.
Needs. I'm saying you have to see things before they happen. You have to use foresight. You have to have discernment. And what I see going on here is black women starting a very impactful movement that's going to be monumental and cause great change in the future for women. And women of no color latching on to that. And so we need to really keep our eyes and our ears open to what's going on here. But in the meantime, use this to your advantage. Because what you see is women of no color, like I said in the beginning, vindicating you. Because unfortunately, the kings that black women are running around worshiping, calling their preference and the only man that they'll be with, are out working overtime to demean and degrade your character, to cast you as these masculine women who are unworthy of protection, love, marriage, or even having a father for their children. What these bandits are doing is showing the world how much they hate you and trying to get everyone else to hate you just as much as they do. But because this reckoning for black men is spiritual, because this movement and the shift is spiritual, no matter how much black men try and sit up here and manipulate the world to believing that you are the problem, everybody else is starting to come out and tell you they are the problem. Finding the right skincare products can be very difficult, especially if you have dark spots or discoloration. And since over-the-counter products can be messy...
I don't think that black men are the problem, like she's portraying. I think that people are the problem in dysfunctional relationships. And I honestly think in dysfunctional relationships, both people are the problem in a dysfunctional relationship because you both chose this dysfunctional relationship. You both chose wrong. You both chose to make a dysfunctional relationship. It takes two to make a relationship, just like it takes two to tango. So you can't say that it's just one person who is at fault. If you chose this in your life, you only have yourself to blame for putting yourself in this mess. Because that other person didn't put you in this mess, you did. Anyway, self-accountability actually is better for most people, because when you're accountable for your actions, you choose better, because you know it's all in your ballpark to choose better. Anyway, continue.
Ineffective and expensive. I want to introduce you to Share Butters. Share Butters was created by a mother in response to her daughter's leukemia. It's been very effective for her and can help you too. In addition to the very popular My Everything cream, which has sold over 10,000 units, Share Butters also has black soaps, exfoliators, and bath products. So hit the link in the description box to purchase yours today and get 10% off using the coupon code CynthiaG, because Share Butters is skincare that works. And when this starts getting the amount of traction that it needs to get, which is right now, you're going to start seeing a shift. And you're going to start seeing the shift in black men's options and how people see black men overall. So in essence, this movement is about to show the world who the real problem is. But I want you guys to look at this video, listen to what this woman of no color is saying, read over the comments, because where there's a woman of no color or anybody telling the truth about black men's pathology, there's a river of bandit tears and dust all over the place. And then when we come back, I'm going to talk about what she said in this video. I'm going to talk more about the pathology of these women. And then as I conclude the commentary, I want to talk more about why black women need to fiercely protect our movement and what we're trying to accomplish from the co-opting of non-black women. So go ahead and take a look at this video, look at the comments, and then I'll come back for final commentary.
We white women have this jealousy and this underbelly seething of anger towards POC women because internally, generationally, we view them as having something more than we have. We see that they are
Okay, ladies, 2 leggings for $24 and 80% off everything else. Do not have
that they are more desirable than we are. We've been conditioned to see this, and we've accepted this as fact, and we behave in such a way. I mean, otherwise, why would we try so hard to appropriate what is not us? We appropriate hair and language and style and all of the things. We want
I honestly think that it's kind of weird why people think that black women are being appropriated by white women. It's just odd to me, because it's like, at the end of the day, if we're really honest, there's something that this lady is saying, but something that she's leaving out. She's specifically trying to say that white women are jealous of POC women, but that's not particularly saying black women. I do think that there is a sense of lack of exoticism with white women, very often, and when white women supposedly appropriate, which I wouldn't say it's appropriating, especially when who they're mocking could literally be within their own race, just a bit more spicy. Black women get jealous and they call it appropriating because the image that they are creating is actually an image that black women don't have, and black women appropriate themselves. That's the truth. You know, there's a lot of there's a main reason why a lot of white women and black women would have a vehement jealousy against women that look similar to like a Kim Kardashian, for example, because they like the in-between ambiguity of women like that. You know, and a lot of women like that get accused of blackfishing, appropriating, and all that stuff because they have a phenotype that includes both sides of the coin, both white women appeal, kind of like an appeal that has to do with white features, but also features of black people as well, or darker people, or more exotic people. And this makes black people very jealous, and it makes white people very jealous, because both sides do not have what the middle has. And that's just what it is, you know. This is why a lot of women who fit more of the Middle Eastern phenotype will get jealousy from both sides, even though Middle Eastern women technically are Caucasian, you know, compared to a plain, fair complected white woman. She has a lot more exoticism than that girl, and she has a lot more exoticism than a lot of black women too, because black women are more common in America than a woman like that. So it creates a double-sided jealousy, and you can tell that what she's saying is white women are jealous of women of color, but not particularly black women. It's more the women in the middle that they're more so jealous of, I think, than actually black women. That's why there's plenty of women who are like of Middle Eastern descent and so forth, like Kim Kardashian, who garner jealousy from both sides of the coin. Anyway, continue.
Proximity to being like or seem like POC women. But we don't want to give up any of our power because, you know, this is birth the utilization of POC women in our movements and in our white feminism, you know, and we get to the point where we can see how we grasp power for ourselves, and at that point we step on the necks of these women, which is only stepping on our own fucking necks. But seriously, and then on top of that, if we're behaving this way, acting this way, doing all of these things, and a POC dude wants to be with us, generally speaking, and I'm being very general in all of this because, you know, I'm just shouting off here, but like, they want to be with us to have proximity to white power, to whiteness. They want to have proximity to white men through us. And that just makes us feel even more invisible. It makes us even more bitter if we haven't dealt with any of these things yet. And that is why so many white women who are like acting like black women, taking on all of that, and then they get...
And then saying things like acting like black women, talking like black women, these are stereotypes. But you see, she can't talk about anything physical with black women because white women do not mimic anything that have to do with particularly features in common with black women, or at least unambiguous black women at that. They don't. Sometimes a white woman will embrace her curls and someone will get confused and think that they're embracing black women, but you have to understand, her curl pattern is not appropriating anything. That's just nature. But generally, you don't really see white women appropriating black women in that regard. Like, people will try and claim people are appropriating. Like, I remember that time with Khloe Kardashian. And I know Khloe Kardashian is half Middle Eastern, but people like to play on the fact that she looks more Caucasian or more European, let's just say, than most of her family does, of her sisters or brother. And they like to talk about that more often, but I remember people were trying to say that she was trying to look like Beyonce, when Beyonce literally doesn't have natural blonde hair. And Khloe was actually born with blonde hair, even though it did get darker, but she was born with it. Beyonce was never born with blonde hair, but literally a black woman will say her curly blonde weave is being appropriated by a white woman when a white woman is wearing her natural hair that happens to be curly and blonde. It's really weird, because it's like, you know, that's her natural hair, and you bought that at a store. You know, you bought that blonde curly hair at a store. You know, or you bought the dye at a store. One or the other. You either bought a weave or you bought blonde dye. You know, on average, black women, we don't have blonde hair. We just don't. And Beyonce, for one, we see her child photos, does not have naturally blonde hair. You know, even the hair texture that they're talking about, Beyonce's hair is actually tighter than that. But it's the delusion of the image you put forth to look more ambiguous is the image you claim is yours. And so when a white person who naturally has some of those features that you try to inflict upon yourself have those features, you call them appropriating, when in truth, if we were really saying this, I guess you're appropriating, but I mean, like, let people wear what they want. If we want to wear blonde, curly wigs, we should be able to. And it should be considered racist for a black woman to be called appropriating when she's wearing a blonde, curly wig, because it's our head, it's the wig we bought. I mean, let us do what we want in our own personal lives. But you can't just leave other white women alone and just let them have their natural hair in their own peace. You know, that's what I don't get. You know, if people try to claim that they're talking like black women or they're acting like black women, there's no way to talk or act like a black woman. That's just racist stereotypes. So continue.
And with black men, and then they're all together like bashing black women because of all of this generational internalized bullshit. If you haven't noticed this yet, I implore you, please, pay attention.
Yeah, they'd feel embarrassed about that. The black men want to be white men. They do. But the reason they do, I don't think, is actually anything that they cause upon themselves. I think that black men have this issue because of how they were so emasculinized by white men. You know, they were never respected as men in history, and this is a major reason why a lot of them have that issue of feeling inferior to white men, because they've been diminished by white men. But who can blame them? I mean, you look at a black man and he literally looks like his female counterpart. Who can respect that as a man? Who can really see a man as someone who looks literally like a female? You know, that's not black men's fault either, you know, how they look, you know. So I'm not blaming them.